What's up, guys? Welcome to the second part of my direct breakdown. And this time we're going to talk about the returning fighters that were announced and some changes that we see. So first up is Lucario. And for Lucario, that we see that his aura attacks are being strengthened. And we see this a lot. We see that a lot of characters are getting buffs, but they're also getting weaknesses at the same time. So for him, we see his aura attacks are getting stronger. His aura attacks were pretty strong in Brawl. Like, he was strong, but he wasn't a force to be reckoned with. For this game, it seems like he's definitely going to become a harder to fight character as he is more damaged. And we see this with his recovery. We see that his recovery can go a crazy distance if he's powered up too much. And this is kind of a good and bad thing. If you're knocked back really far, it's a good thing. If you're not, it's kind of a bad thing. But at the same time, if you're knocked really far, you won't really know how far it will go. So it doesn't really help you because you can be punished. So I like that. It's also a buff, it's a nerf. So he gets stronger, but he kind of has some weaknesses that go with that. And we see his mega evolution. It wasn't clearly said if this is his final smash or not, but we also see that Charizard has a mega evolution as well. So I think for the both of them, I think it's a final smash, like a transformation type move, where it's based on a time limit. So I don't think this is a form that they gain during gameplay. I think this is definitely their final smash we're seeing. And now we see some pretty big changes for a returning character, Olimar, who was probably one of the most unique ones in Brawl. Now he only has 3 Pikmin available to him, and this change I really like because I did try Olimar a little bit in Brawl, and having to deal with 5 Pikmin and having to manage that is kind of overpowering and overwhelming at the same time. It's overpowering because you can throw, even if 3 of those Pikmin landed on you, you would be getting attacked by them one by one, and your percentage would just be at a 50 before you even know it. And having to see where each Pikmin is and having to know which one you're throwing, it's just very random. And I like how now they're looking at just 3 at a time, and it's plucked in a particular order. It's red, yellow, blue, white, and purple, I believe. So they're getting rid of that random factor, which I really like, because in a game like this where you have to deal with fighting one-on-one or fighting in a free-for-all, having random elements is kind of necessary. You need to have a basis for a character and a consistency. We also see that his recovery is being changed to the Winged Pikmin. So now he has a Pikmin that can carry him up. And we also see how this is getting better for him, and it's worse at the same time, because if it's just Olimar alone, he flies faster and flies more. But if he has Pikmin with him, then he gets heavier and his recovery isn't as good, which is interesting dynamic, because in Brawl, it was about having as many Pikmin as you could to have the best teeter recovery. Now you have to find a way to get rid of your Pikmin as best as you can so you have a better recovery. So I like how they're kind of changing the dynamic with Olimar. And here we see Pit, and we see that his gliding mechanic is getting cut. And I really like this. I did not like the gliding mechanic. I think it was a little overpowered. It was a little bit too easy to recover if you could master it. So I like that they're getting rid of it. I hope they get rid of it in general for every character. But we also see a trade-off that he's getting rid of the gliding mechanic, but his recovery is powered up. So it kind of looks like Lucario's up B, where it just kind of goes in a straight line and you just recover a long distance. And we see that Yoshi is finally making a return. A lot of people were a lot worried that Yoshi wouldn't be making it because his game came out and he wasn't announced. But Sakurai explains that his changes have been taking them time to develop, so that's why they waited so long to tell people. But Yoshi's back, and he looks very cool. I like the design of this character. I like how he's not hunched over like a dinosaur. He's more upright. And I like his design is a lot better. His color palette is different, and I think that makes him more appealing. I don't know why. When I saw this reveal and I saw the color palette and I saw that his design he's to stand more upright, he looked really like a better character, and that's just like aesthetics. His basic moves look the same, but just seeing the different design of him makes me want to play him, and I've never said that about Yoshi. I'm very much tied to how characters look in games, and I always use Yoshi for every Mario game. I use it for Mario Kart, use it for Mario Golf, things like that, and I think it might be time for me to learn some Yoshi in Smash Brothers, which I haven't ever said before. And we see that Zero Suit Samus is making a return alone this time. This was an interesting change. So now characters are not being able to transform anymore, whereas Samus would shoot the Zero laser for the final smash and then he would transform to Zero Suit. And I really, really like this. A lot of people are kind of upset about it, but I think people have to ask themselves, were they really able to use both characters at their best? And the answer is no. If you want to use Zero Suit, you would have picked Zero Suit and done the holding R trigger to make sure that you have Zero Suit right away. Nobody used Zero Suit to hopefully to play as Samus. If you wanted to play as Samus, you would play as Samus. If you want to play Zero Suit, you play Zero Suit. So I like how now they're able to focus on one character because you don't have to worry if the transformation overpowers the other transformation and everything like that. So I like this change. And we also see how her design is getting a major overhaul and she looks a lot better. And it's just the way, like if you watch this direct, if it's just the way her hair moves and everything, it's so much more fluid. It's another testament how amazing this game looks. And she's getting another major change. She still seems to have the whip, but now she has some jet boots, which improve her recovery. So this will be interesting to see how much more powerful she is, because in Brawl, I think she was really weak. I picked her up probably toward the end of Brawl's life cycle, and she was a good character. She was very nimble, but she was very, very weak. Very weak. And it's good to see how she's still going to retain her quickness and how she's going to be a little bit more powerful. And, of course, the other transforming character is Zelda. So Zelda is just Zelda now. And Zelda's getting a down B move, which is Phantom Slash. I think it's from Spirit Tracks. And how this is just a Phantom for attack or defense. And this Phantom can be reflected back at you, so you also have to be careful. But it can also block attacks for you. So it's an interesting move. Zelda seems like a very defensive character now, where she can kind of just hold back and use Din's Fire, or she could do Phantom Slashes to kind of protect herself. I'm assuming she still has I forgot what it was called, but it was her neutral B where she can reflect projectiles back. She'll probably have that back. So all these moves make her seem like a very defensive character. And also we have Sheik coming back alone this time. So her down special is a grenade that she can pull. It seems very similar to Snake's, but it seems like you can kind of choose when you want the grenade to burst when you pull the pin. I don't know. I got the sense that you can kind of control that. And she also got a kick move that seems similar to Zero Suit Samus's kick move. And we see Kirby getting a change to his hammer flip, his forward B move. Now it kind of works like King Dedede's hammer, where you can kind of charge it up and you can move around. But if you charge it up too much, you'll damage yourself and you'll be more vulnerable to attacks if you miss. So this is interesting. I play a lot of Kirby in Brawl. I've played Kirby probably in every game. And this will be interesting because now he has a really powerful move at his disposal. So it'll be interesting how to see when to use this move and if it'll benefit Kirby. So this is also a buff, also a nerf in a way, where he has a more powerful attack, but at the same time, it can hurt him if he misses. And we were given a look at his final smash, which is Ultra Sword. So it just looks like a slash, and it kind of just knocks the opponent. And this final smash looks nice, but I really like the original final smash he had with the cooking pot in Brawl. I thought it was a very unique one. I kind of prefer that one over this. This one didn't really look that inspired. I get why they put it because it's the most recent moves from his most recent games. But either way, it still looks nice. And finally, we get a look at Dedede. And we see that he throws Gordos instead of Waddle Dees. And this is another case of them getting rid of the random mechanic. And I really, really like this. Every time you would use his side B, you would hope for the Gordo. You would not hope for the Waddle Dee, because the only good Waddle Dee was the one that shoots electricity from his eye, and kind of play a defensive game. You know, you can kind of set one up and then move around to that. But that wasn't really that reliable. So I like that they're just going with the Gordos, because that's what you would have wanted anyway. And they don't look that powerful compared to a Gordo in Brawl, but I think it's a better change. And we also see that you can kind of hit them back at him. So It's also a buff and a nerf, and I like how they're doing this. I like how they're giving every character a buff, but at the same time, it has its weaknesses. So I like what they're doing so far. This is only a handful of characters so far. We haven't seen everyone yet. So it'll be really interesting to see what moves they give to like Link or Mario or Pikachu that are also buffs, but at the same time they are weaknesses. So it seems like every character is going to get stronger, but have their weaknesses. And just one more thing I want to touch upon that was mentioned is custom move sets. So we haven't known how this game will incorporate custom features, but it looks like the moves will be customized and there will be different attributes. So Mario's fireball is bigger, but it's slower. Pit can throw an arrow that can circle, and Kirby, instead of sucking his opponents, he can freeze them. So this is really interesting. I'm curious as to how they are going to implement this. Can you transfer this between the 3DS version and the Wii U? I would assume so. I hope so. You can't use it online, but you can use it with friends. But I think this is a very, very cool way to kind of add more strategy to the game. Do I choose Kirby's ice move, or do I choose the move that he is able to get his opponent's powers? So it's a very, very interesting dynamic, and I like this, that now we're able to choose what kind of moves and what kind of attributes we want to tie to each of them. So it'll be very interesting to hear about this more in the future. So that's pretty much what we were given about the returning characters and about custom move sets. As I've said many times, I like these changes. I like what I'm seeing so far, and I hope we get to see more of the other characters very soon. Thank you for watching, guys, and stay tuned for part 3 coming very soon. Peace.